Hi there, I'm Sue from letmelearn.co.uk, and today I'm going to give you some reading tips for children who struggle with reading and confuse sounds within words and sometimes reverse letters as well. Okay, so first of all, it's a good idea before you start reading to do some eye exercises, and you can do that in the form of lazy eights, which is the number 8 that's fallen on its side like this, or the infinity sign. So you can actually get a pen and do it like this. The best way to do it though is to hold your thumb in front of your face and make the shape of a lazy 8. Okay, so crossing over from one side of the body to another, and your eyes should be the only thing that's moving, not your head. So sometimes you may need to help a child by holding their head so they remember to only move their eyes. So that's one method to get a smooth action for their eyes to flow across the page. Another method is to, in the room, you'll find the corner of the room. There we go. If this is the back wall, and this is the ceiling, and this is the wall, and they can track with their eyes along that line. There, back and forth, back and forth. And it's just exercising their eyes, because this is what they're going to be doing in reading. And if your eye movement is a bit juddery like this, it can be quite hard to read. So practicing this back and forth movement is a very good way to help reading. Speaking from experience, I know that this has certainly helped me. Okay, it's also very good if you've got a classroom or in your house, or even go outside to do this. There's a brick wall, and you can track along the bricks, which is great because this is just like reading, as in you go from one line of bricks, then go down and on to the next line of bricks. And this is a great way to practice tracking from one row to another. Okay, and it's a lot more fun if you go outside as well. Right, so once you've done some eye exercises, you may find that your child has visual stress if this is one of the problems they're having, and in which case they may need a coloured overlay. If I just get one for you here, this is a coloured overlay which we sell in our shop. This is a blue one, and it just changes the colour of the background quite simply, and it just makes it easier to read. For some children, the black text on the white is too glaring and the text moves about quite a lot. This happens to me, so sometimes I use a coloured overlay as well when the text is bad. Okay, so I was using this particular piece of writing with a child, and he was struggling with some words, and he has this problem where he reverses letters and moves the letters within words appear to swap, especially when you've got more than one of the same letter in the word. So I've just highlighted some words here. We've got stewards, jewels and jewellery. We've got avenues, and we also had Stuart right at the beginning, which is very close to stewards. Okay, so we were reading the text, the story, which is actually from Nessie Learning Programme, by the way, which is a fantastic resource full of all sorts of fun games and resources to learn spelling, especially designed by the Bristol Dyslexia Association. Okay, so he read the story, and he knew the first word was Stuart, because we're doing the U sound here. And when we came to steward, that's actually stewards, he really struggled to read that. He'd even forgotten what this U sound was here. So we went back to this word, and he remembered then that this was the U sound, but he was still confused, and I think he called it a C-word or cedar. So he's getting all of these letters in the wrong place while he was reading. So we tried a technique where we cover up some of the letters, and we do this by you need both hands really to go like this. So you can just read part of it, so you can go from actually one sound to chunks. Okay, so I'll just show you that on the whiteboard in case you can't see that very clearly. So we covered up all the other letters around with our hands and just went stew, but he still couldn't get it, he still couldn't read it. So we tried another technique, and I found that this works with a lot of dyslexic children who reverse letters and reverse sounds within words. He wrote the word out for himself, and I don't know if you can see this down here. He wrote, there we go, he wrote Stuart. So he couldn't actually read that word Stuart at one point, so he wrote that word again. And as he wrote it, he was saying the sounds, so and he got it straight away. And because he wrote that word down, then he could work out this word. The problem that was confusing him was it had 2 T's and 2 S's in, and that was throwing his eyes off, and he couldn't work out what the word said. So just by writing that word down, he was then able to read it. Okay, and the next one we had was, can you see that? Jewels. There we go, jewels, and it was right next to jewellery. So he couldn't spell jewels, so he simply wrote it down again because he knew that that technique worked for him. So he went but he actually wrote jewellery because he'd lost his place. But that didn't matter, because now he knew that was jewellery, he could work out the one at the top was jewels. Okay, and then finally we've got the last one here, which was avenues. If you can just about see that there, avenues. That was a particularly tricky word. He really couldn't get that one at all. So he used his fingers, he tried that technique, and it didn't really work at all for him. So we tried another technique, which was start from the end. So here we go, we've taken this chunk. You can even start from that S. So we know that S. We've already worked out that this is the U sound. So that's use. And then we reveal another letter. So news. And then in-use, venues, avenues, and that really worked for him on that word. He also tried writing it out himself and saying the sounds, and that helped him again. So there's quite a few tips there to help you if your child is really struggling with reading particular words, but you know actually they can read them. It might be just that the letters are changing place within the word. Okay, so if you have any questions, just ask me at the bottom. Thanks very much for listening. Bye for now.